He's the strongest man in the world." "Man, yes," said Pippi, "but I'm the strongest girl in the world. Remember that." We're back here again with one of my childhood books, and possibly most of Europe's favorite adventurers. Here's the 10th episode of Forgotten Favorites, with me, Clara, as y'all's host, and our second meet and greet episode. Please welcome with me the Swedish writer and screenwriter, the mother of Pippi Lotta, Delicatessa, Windowshade, Mackerel Mint, Ephraim's daughter, Longstocking, or just Pippi, Astrid Lindgren. Miss Lindgren was born in November 1907 to Samuel and Hannah Eriksson on Farm Nays, now near a town called Vimmerby, Sweden. She described this time as one of the best, and as the age of horses. They were still commonly used on farms during this time, especially for agriculture. Because of the lack of radio and TV, Lindgren and her siblings spent most of their time reading. That's right, dear bookworms, Astrid Lindgren was one of us. In fact, here's my favorite quote from her. "A childhood without books, that would be no childhood. That would be like being shut out from the enchanted place where you can go and find the rarest kind of joy." Some of her favorite books were Treasure Island, The Little Princess, and Daddy Longlegs, which she then passed on to her future generations. Once she started her teenage years, she said that she distinctly remembered when her childhood was over. She said, "We were about to start playing, as usual. We suddenly discovered that we couldn't play anymore. We just couldn't. It felt silly and sad, because what would we do if we couldn't play?" But that didn't stop her from having fun. She learned to love dance, theater, and the rising genre of jazz. At 16, Lindgren graduated and started to proofread small notices and reports in newspapers. Here she met editor-in-chief Reinhold Blomberg, who was quite impressed and fond of Astrid, and in spring 1926, she was pregnant. To avoid the humiliation of being pregnant, unmarried, and 19 years old, Lindgren lived in Stockholm before moving to Copenhagen, Denmark, to deliver her child. She stayed with the family Stevens, which consisted of the mother Marie, her son Carl, and Esse, a Swedish boy born out of wedlock. Here, Lindgren studied to be a secretary at the Barluck University, where she learned typing, writing, bookkeeping, accounting, and so much more. She continued to study there even after her son, Lars, or Lasse, was born on December 4th, 1926. In 1927 is when she got her first secretary job at the Svenska Bokhandlarcentrum's radio station. She mainly answered complaints to customers who were unfamiliar with the new piece of technology. A year later, Lindgren moved on to the Royal Automobile Club, with Sture Lindgren as her boss, whom she wed in 1931. Before that, however, Maurice Stevens came to the hospital due to heart problems. Since he had been living there, Lindgren went to get a now devastating Lasse. After her marriage, she quit her job to care for Lasse, writing stories for magazines or filling in secretary positions from time to time. And on May 21st, 1934, Lindgrens welcomed their daughter Karen to the world. Astrid Lindgren may have even during this time relearned how to play. She actually played quite often with her two children in the quote-unquote Vassenparken Park or down by the Karlsbergen Kanalen Canal. This is where she met her so-called park ladies, some of her closest friends. During World War II, Lindgren was quite busy. Throughout the war, she wrote war diaries, telling of her experiences during that time. At the end, she'd filled out 17 diaries. I mean, you've got to do something with your free time. In 1940, she got a letter censorship job from a professor of criminology, Herr Söderman, who she had met years prior and actually inspired one of her future books. In the incoming letters she read, she gained a tragic and brutally realistic insight on the war and Nazism. In 1941, the Lindgrens moved to a much better home, and after living very modestly for a decade, Astrid was ecstatic. In the same year, Pippi Longstocking came to life. When her daughter Karen was ill, Lindgren told her stories of a red-headed girl with pigtails and colorful stockings, who lived free of the world in her home Villa Kula. She wrote down each story and got the book Pippi Longstocking published after winning the Rabin and Surgen contest in 1945. And from there, dear bookworms, it only gets better. The book was a huge hit, and Miss Lindgren was quite productive in the 50s and 60s. She wrote a book a year, including Kerstin and I, The Children of the Noisy Village, Blomkvist, Master Detective, and Pippi Longstocking Goes Aboard. During this time, she also met Louise Harting, a good friend who would show her entirely new POVs of culture, politics, the economy, and one thing they both bonded over, literature. When she died in 1964, Harding and Lindgren had written to each other over 600 letters. Geez, I haven't even written that much in my entire life. Astrid Lindgren's journey ended in 2002 at the age of 95. Both of her children married and her husband dead. But her legacy lives on to this day. Her books have inspired millions across the world. Her work being recognized in literature, films, theater, as statues, and prizes. One of these would be the Astrid Lindgren Memorial Award, with a money prize of 5 million in Swedish currency, the world's largest international prize for YA and children's literature. It is awarded to those whose work and art have the same spirit as Miss Astrid Lindgren's. Of her books, my favorites are Pippi Longstocking, of course, The Brothers Lionheart, and The Children of the Noisy Village. Brothers Lionheart tells of two brothers in the afterlife who work together to unite two separate kingdoms. And The Children of the Noisy Village they tell of kids from a noisy village. One that I would love to read is Ronja, the Robber's Daughter. The title kind of gives it away. This is an author for kids who want to escape reality into entirely different and unique worlds, making them sad to leave. That's all for today, dear bookworms. So go out there, find your own worlds, and keep reading!